Push the button. I think it worked. I don't want to be in studio mode. Hi, it's me, Scott. I haven't streamed in a while. I know. I haven't streamed much lately, but I don't have an excuse, actually. I made my desk a little taller. I've 3D printed some little risers for my desk, and sometimes it makes me feel tiny. Like, oh, I have a big grown-up desk. Hello. Hi. We're gonna do a little work today, I think, even though it's nighttime. I probably won't work on this too long. It's just stuck in my head a little bit. So I have a project coming up that's underway that has some localization requirements, and I've never built a localization system. I'm trying to think of it even. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I've worked on projects where somebody else was working on some localization thing, but I've never. I have not, as far as I remember. So the first thing to do, obviously, is pick new wallpaper. Of course it is. So I have an idea of how I want to do this. I thought about it with my brain, and I think I know how I want to do it. I don't think it will be tremendously complicated. As soon as we have some wallpaper, we'll start the project. And I will describe to you what I'm thinking. But the general idea is we have this application. It will have subtitles. So I built the SRT parser last time, and that was fine. What do we want to call this? Localizer. Let's make a Unity project. Don't open over there. It's like maybe there was something slightly secret. We're gonna call it okay. Nobody knows what those mean. They're just folders. They could mean anything. In fact, I think, yeah, that's not okay. Whatever. Anyway, I don't think it's too secret at this point. That's annoying, but it's always annoying. So let's make a new project. Let's use not 2021. Choose 2020.3. Let's call it Localizer. Let's put it. Wait, is that going to put it in the folder? That doesn't really matter. Yeah, so the SRT thing is working so far. We don't have the other languages yet, but as far as just showing English subtitles, that works. So the idea is this, I think this is what it needs to be. I think the idea is everything's going to open on the screen I don't want it to. I think the idea is you go to Google and you make a new Google sheet. I don't know how. This button? How do I say where this thing goes? Okay, let's try this different. Let's go in here and in here and in here and in here and in here. And make a new sheet. Nope. Blank spreadsheet. And call localization. And did it actually do a thing? Okay. I think this works. So the idea is the following: that we'll have a spreadsheet. And so this is for an interface. It's not a very complicated interface. There's not a ton to it. We just need a good way to swap out a bunch of elements. So I think the core of it is there'll be a localization system, and there'll be a tag, and then there'll be English. I can't actually remember the languages we're responsible for. So I'll just mix them up for now. We'll do that for now. Those are not the actual languages. I just can't remember the languages. Anyway, like format a row and tell a row to be a title row. Isn't there a thing that does that? Or like some formatting window for this guy? No. How do you do the thing? Where do you see the format? You know, the thing. I didn't mean to do that. How do you see the sidebar that tells you how to do stuff? I mean, this doesn't actually matter. It's just annoying. Like, for example, if I wanted to mark this as header columns that don't stay fixed, you know? How do you think you do that? I would have thought it would be format. But what do I know? How is this so not obvious? Right? You know the thing I want? I want the thing where this is just a How do you do that? What does group row mean? Don't you think that would be right here where you just like right click it and say these are headers or something like that? Am I crazy? Is that unreasonable? Anyway, whatever. I'm not gonna get caught up in stupid Google Doc stuff, even though that's exactly what I just did. What is the thing? How do you do the thing? You know, the thing, pin data, freeze or merge. It's just freeze. It's a view freeze. One row. Okay, I see. Is that really all there's to it? Okay. It was a view thing. Okay, so for example, let's just make up some things. So it's like begin, main menu, cancel, restart, continue, and so on. But there's just these will basically be English language labels for the buttons. And this is the actual text that will go in there. But then there's going to be a tag that's just kind of a generic, what that button is called, not necessarily the literal text that will be on it. So this might be like the begin tag, but then later we could edit it and say like, oh, actually we want to change the copy to be start. But we don't have to go change the software, right? You can just change this spreadsheet to change that label. That's the idea anyway. The idea is that these tags would be kind of set. And then all the actual copy that goes on them would be flexy. And we could get really nuts with how these tags work. I think I'm just going to do them as text tags, so it doesn't really matter. I don't know if this is exactly what I want them to be, but it's a start. All right. So the idea is that we've got this. And we're just going to use Google Translate for now. Just to put in some things. Just to put in words. That will probably not be a correct translation, but just to start. So if we were translating to German, for example. Beginnen? I don't know how to say begin in German. Wait, what? What? Is that true? Begin is really start? Okay, sure. I just got some kisses. Who's giving kisses? Hauptmenü. It's good to have some extended characters in there. That'll be helpful. Cancel. And again, this is not real. We will actually have people validate these translations. This is just me. Neu starten. Neue. Continue. Weitermachen. Italian. I don't even remember if these are the right languages. I think actually German is not one of our languages, but doesn't matter. Just want to build up the system a little. That doesn't seem right. Maybe that's real. Maybe it is. Maybe that's legit. And begin. Inizio. And Spanish. Actually, let's just go ahead and do Japanese. Just so we can see what it's like to have some complicated characters. We may not really be ready for this, but let's just try it. Just fully trusting the Google Translate here because I have no idea. The spacing of this looks quite suspect, but we'll go with it for now. Just as a starting point. Like, that can't possibly be actually right. Right? That looks more reasonable. This looks highly suspect to me, but what do I know? Okay, so the idea is that you would take this, and you would just get a... Oh, do you want tab or comma separated? It doesn't really matter. We'll just pick our delimiter, I think. So... There's probably more secrets there. Oh no, what's going on? I'm gonna switch here for a second. What's the problem? An emergency? That's not good news. Okay, well, whatever. I'm ignoring it for now. So the idea is we'd have a thing here. So one thing we figured out, this is actually annoying. So we can't just have this be like .csv.text. Like we have to Unity only recognizes text as. Maybe there's a way to cheat that actually. Maybe there's a way to like give it an extension and say, hey, oh, actually CSV is one of the extensions. So CSV is, that one's actually fine. But SRT was not. There may be, I vaguely, now that I think about it, vaguely remember there being some trick. For adding new types as a text asset, but now I just can't remember. Okay, anyway. So now we now have this. It is a text separated, or sorry, comma separated list. So we just need to write a very simple parser first. So what we're probably going to have is a localization manager. And its job will be to read that CSV, make some data structure of languages, which I haven't exactly decided. You know, now I feel like we maybe want to invert this. Or like flip the rows in the columns. I guess rotate is maybe the proper term for that. Because we actually do want a language tag. Like we want a... As we go through these, we don't actually care. Okay, I'm gonna try, I don't know, let's rough in some fake methods just as a way to think through this. Because we'll need to do something that's like get text or tag, for example. Transpose, that's a word. How's it going, Binary? Transpose is switching rows and columns, that's the right word. So if we have a tag, so what do we actually want to do here? We want a dictionary. That's a good place to look up words, right? So one way to think of this is you have a dictionary, which I kind of like for the language analog. So, and what the localization thing could do is just switch the current dictionary. So it would be, I don't know if I like this, but you could imagine something that's like public. Oh, what is that type? What did I started doing this in C#. Is it type def? Or like where you have a type alias? Let's see. I forgot what the Oh yeah, you can just do something like this. It's a using. So it's using that's like I don't know. Using Locale Dictionary equals dictionary Is that how you do this? I'm gonna that's how you do this actually. Is this how you do this? That need to be in a class. Am I just misremembering? What silly thing am I doing? No, I think that has to go out here. Okay, what is wrong with this? What absurd thing have I done? Why don't I have... What? Since dictionary is end system collection generic. Am I doing some awesome thing like misspelling dictionary in a fun way? Why doesn't this work? Excuse me. What's wrong? What? 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 Excuse me. What absurd thing am I missing? That probably becomes an enum. I don't know. Not entirely sure about that yet. What? What? I thought... Maybe you can't do a thing like you do using with... I'm almost sure I've done this. Maybe you can't. Okay, so you can't use generics. That's the issue. I see. Oh, how weird. Okay, there's a weird way to do that. I thought I'd done this before. But did I do some kind of trick? It was this. Why is that okay? I mean, I had a system collection generic here, so that's okay? Really all it is? thought I did this without this full thing. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Anyway, but I basically want a list of those. I mean, I'm overcomplicating things. Suki the Dragon. Dwagon. How's it going? Okay, I'm overcomplicating things as usual. But what we want to do, so we want some list of dictionaries, I guess. We want a list of locale dictionaries keyed based on, I mean, it's actually, that's another dictionary. Oh no. Oh no, we need a dictionary of dictionaries. You got a new PC, what did you get? Because we want to be able to, okay, I should just think through it like this, like the usage. Like how do I want to use these? Fancy. Asus ROG Strix G7. What GPU is that? That's weird. This eBay listing says RTX 30. It doesn't say what the actual GPU is. 3090? Dang. 3060. That makes more sense. You had your 6 upside down. I didn't know there were mobile 3090s. Maybe there are. It's a giant 17-inch laptop. Okay, so I want to parse that, and what I want is a bunch of dictionaries. But do I need a dictionary of my dictionaries? I think I might need a dictionary of dictionaries, which is always silly, but so really, I really probably can't do this. And so using word dictionary. So really the word dictionary or tag. How about it's the tag dictionary, because that's really what it is. In fact, I don't know, tag text dictionary, locale, let's just call it the tag dictionary. So this takes a tag and gives you text. This will actually take a string and give you a tag dictionary. Well, let me do this with my weird made up type. Why not? Why don't you let me do it? I really thought I had done this. And you could get an eGPU enclosure, put a 3090 in there, right? I don't know. I really don't need to be doing this. I'm just making things. It just saves me this like nested generic thing that always looks so bad. I mean, because the thing I actually want is this. And maybe I should just type that for now and not worry about clever shortcuts. Like, just ditch this for the moment and say, this is the actual thing that I want. And then maybe we can try to make it into a fancy, like, fake kind of type def thing later. So this is actually our locale dictionary, right? And it is a dictionary of locales. Wait, you got auto modded just for my auto mod is very intense. No Thunderbolt. Oh no. What will you primarily do with that machine? Is it for work or for pleasure or for both? Like, this just sucks. I don't want to type this out. I have like a nested, it's so much nicer if I can just have a, okay, do I need to do this then? I guess I'll just do this. I do this. Just wonder if sticking it in a namespace will trick it into resolving the those external dudes. So if it was like It does, but I throw it in space, it tricks it. It's fair. It's all fair. Must have a flexible machine. Okay, what are we actually doing here? We want to have a locale dictionary. The thing is, though, that's not what you're asking for. You don't want a locale dictionary. Man, I really can't do this. I'm almost positive I've done this before. Like, that's fine, but I can't do this. Is this what you're telling me? I can't do this. Maybe it's too much to ask. But maybe that's okay. Maybe this just is explicit. I don't know. You can do this in other languages. I just can't remember. Power toys. Oh my gosh, Grimbone, how's it going? I had a version of Power Toys in like 1996. Let's see. What was the original Power Toys? Or was that not until Windows 98? Like, what was the original? The OG? Yeah, it was from Windows 95. I used that cab view. That was very important. CD autoplay. Cab view was key. I don't remember most of these things. Definitely remember cab view. Send to was handy. Tweak UI was handy. Yeah, Tweak UI. Tweak UI was good. Nice. Celebrating your immunity with bourbon. How are things going in Australia? Does Tweak UI still exist? Maybe I need to tweak my UI. Okay, anyway, the thing we actually want here is a tag dictionary. I've made everything too complicated, of course. So we will have a locale dictionary. That will be a thing we have. Wait, not local, locale. The land of unity. America is not unity. Win arrow tweaker. It's not very tweaky anymore. Yeah, man, I don't know. America's falling apart. It's falling to pieces over here. Maybe I'll just install Windows 11, move my icons to the center of the screen, and just like that'll be like a whole new life. Okay. So, but can I do this? Surely I can. Can I? Does that work? Wow, look at that. Okay, so the thing is, yeah, so we want this nested dictionary setup. I think that kind of makes sense. And we need to be able to like know, I mean, we really don't need this, but let's just have it for kicks. We can get fancy and do a try get, I guess. So this is the locale dictionary try get value. How does this work? I don't really want to do that though. Just okay. We'll put in some like protections later, maybe. Oh, we should just do it. It's good practice. So start it as null, and then we'll do a locale dictionary .try get value, and we will try to get the locale, and we'll try to stick it in the tag dictionary, and maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Who can say? Why are you unhappy? Because you are obviously out. You're an out. I don't know. I'm just gonna. One day I'll wake up and Windows 11 will have forced itself on me. And we'll just, you know, we'll just start life on that day. Oh, I don't know. You go check your Pro Tools compatibility. It could ruin your life. You could just wake up one day and have Windows 11 and a non-working Pro Tools install. Oh, that's a good trick. Try to trick Windows 11 into thinking like, no, sorry, I don't have a whatever that is, TPM, can't install. What are you drawn to about it? Is it gonna fix your life? I haven't really looked into it that much. Okay, so this will do this. That gives us a tag dictionary, and then we essentially want to do the same thing here, right? Like all this. So in this case, though, so this is where it gets a little tricky. Like this thing is going to be kind of a. In fact, you know what? Is this whole thing going to be kind of singletony? Is that how this is going to work? Something like this. So whatever the locale is, can't you do this now? I know that's not a real locale, but that's what my current locale is. You can do that now, right? Just turn your monitor upside down. Oh, interesting. I didn't really realize there were gaming performance implications. I have a decision to make. So I got an insane deal. I traded in my PS4 a couple weeks ago because there was a ridiculous deal at GameStop where I made like $100 on my PS4 by trading it in, which is crazy. Turn your body upside down if you have a laptop, or just lean upside down off the edge of your bed. And so I got a pretty good deal on my PS4 a few years ago, PS4 Pro I should say, and I got it for like $225 or something, which was a very good deal. And then I sold it to GameStop for like $325, and then I also sold them my PSVR stuff, and so I just have a bunch of GameStop credit, and I don't know what to do with it. I don't want a PS5 right now because they look so stupid that I think I would rather just wait a couple years and get a PS5 Slim. I just can't have something that stupid looking in my home, and also there's not really anything I want on it now. But I have a bunch of GameStop credit, so what am I gonna do with it? Maybe I like turned it into Steam wallet codes and use it to buy a Steam Deck. I have one reserved. Okay, what are we doing? Okay, so if we do this, we know the dictionary. This really should be some kind of a enum, but whatever. Static, public, void, set, dictionary, or set locale. Locale. There's a reason I don't want it to be an enum is, oh yeah, I kind of have reasons for this because all this stuff's going to come from the spreadsheet, and I don't want to have two like sources of truth. I just want it to come from the spreadsheet. So it's kind of lame. I could do something like code generation thing where offline you generate some set of constants based on what is in the CSV file, but I mean, I guess I could. That wouldn't be the worst idea, like offline the process a little bit, but I don't know. Let's just get it working first. Oh my gosh, you got auto-modded for the word bullcrap. That's amazing. You think it should? Wait, are you telling me that my Okay. You think I can trade my GameStop store credit in for stock? Is that the secret? Okay, and this will just be what? Oh, sure. Wait, this is static. You're not static. And then we would do, I mean, we could internally just store a reference to the dictionary, whatever. Okay, but let's just do this. We're going to say, this is a silly way to do this. We'll simplify it, but we'll just say, right now, whenever you ask, we'll get you the tag dictionary, and then we will do a tag dictionary try get value. We should make sure this isn't null. Is that how you do that? With the tag, and we want to stick it in the string. Is that right? What's this called? A null coalescing operator? No, it's too late. Now I'm going to literally buy a GameStop, like the actual store. I'll have my own franchise. Is it franchises? Can I own my own? Yeah, so maybe I'll use it on Steam Deck. I don't really. Okay, Suki, thanks for hanging out. I really appreciate you stopping by. Enjoy your new computer. So, actually, your name reminds me of a song, Mac the Knife. Right. So this could be a way to do this. All you have to do as a user. It's just kind of lame because we got some weird things that are like semi. I don't know. Those should probably be consts. And you just have to add a const when you or yeah, like in a enum. But whatever. So let's have a localization file, and the first thing we're going to do is localization file dot text. Oh my gosh, we went through this last time and it was the worst, right? We actually found that it was string. It was so embarrassing. I did it all wrong. How did we do? So what was the trick? I guess in this case it's fine because all we really do, it truly is just a comma, right? So maybe it's fine. And then we just need to loop through the lines. Of the file. Right? Okay, so yeah, so this is where it gets weird because I think actually do we want a dictionary per line? I like those pipes. Everybody loves pipes. Looking for headers. They'll just look good in our nice tab separated document. So, but I think we do want to transpose this because we want things divided up by language. Yeah, this is actually kind of a tricky one. This is sort of not ideal for just a CSV file, right? What axis? So what in the world was that? That was weird. It was like a strange secret thing floating in the corner. What is that? In OBS. There's weird mystery text. Yeah, I accidentally added mystery text. Well, hopefully those don't matter. Okay, so how do I want... I've got my weird data structures. how do I want to parse this? Like if I'm looping line by line, that means I have to touch a whole bunch of dictionaries. You know, I guess there's another option where it's like keyed based on a thing that is both the key and the locale. That doesn't sound really good. Like, what's the right data structure for this? Do I want to transpose this? Yeah, I mean, 2D array is kind of what I have with I mean, I kind of have a 2D array stuck in a 1D array, sort of. Because I know my locale. That's like that's the high level thing. So I want to be organized by locale. That's for sure. So it probably makes sense to populate one dictionary at a time, which this is not set up for. This is to populate one tag at a time. So if I want to populate one language at a time, I do need to transpose this. There's not some beautiful transpose button, right? I have to just like cut and paste it. Yeah, it's true. I could transpose in the code. Is this better? I think so, right? Because then it's like, yeah, that's a good point. Is like, what is the right the useful thing for a human who's going to have to look at this? This is probably the format that makes sense for a human. Probably. You could kind of make the case either way. I mean, this was the one. This was the way that came naturally to me for whatever reason. Um, hmm. I mean, alternatively, maybe there's just some other data structure that makes a little more sense. That's like a two. I don't know. So you could imagine like like it was keyed on a tuple or something, where both the language and the tag are the key, and it's just a dictionary, and then it doesn't matter. Um, it's not a nested dictionary. Can you do that? C# dictionary tuple key. Is that a thing a human would do? Oh, whoa. C#7. Unity have C#7 now? I think it does. What version of C#? C#9. Okay, so I could do something weird like this, where it was always yeah, but maybe I don't mind. Maybe that's okay. I mean, just if the tuple is okay, let me just think through this for a second, because it like simplifies the topology slightly, I think, and it's really easy to manufacture. So if it was a Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, so what I'm imagining now, I'm just going to think through it. I'm not sure if I like it, but the thing I'm imagining is where it is just a dictionary keyed. I mean, I'm sure there's like probably a reason not to do this. This will have a very low volume. It's not much content. It only populates once, and the lookups will be relatively rare, only when someone switches locale. So, like, I could see this working. It looks insane because it's just all strings, but you know, it's coming from CSV. Yeah, so I think, I mean, I think I leave the CSV like this. I think doesn't really matter. I mean, the parser is the parser, so it could flip. But yeah, so but if just thinking about what I need to look up is always I have a locale and I have a tag. You tell me if you know what the thing is. So I actually think I like that. It doesn't. It's not very safe because it's all string based, but it's all coming from a CSV file. So like it's gonna be string based, and let's say also add a bunch of consts on this side, which I could generate those consts and do code generation, whatever. But it's just not that complicated of a project. I don't think it needs that. So yeah, so this would be something like, you know, well, so it really could just be something like this. This could just become that. So that's the locale dictionary. And then we don't really have to do this. So how do we look that up though? Because we need it, I guess we just pass a tuple here that is our locale and our tag. That really is now the tag dictionary, I guess. Well, it's like a locale tag dictionary. Wait, I got rid of it. That's the type. So, well, I'd still, that can be private. Nobody needs to access that directly, right? So that can just be a private static. Can it? Wait, it can't be private and static. Can it? I guess it can. Guess it can. Sure, why not? For some reason that just sounded so weird. Okay. Is this real? Is this real? So then as we iterate through these, what do we actually know? It kind of sucks. Like, okay, first of all, this is wrong. This is wrong. It's that's what we have to split on. And this is where we hit the problem, right? Like that we couldn't split based on a string. When we had a solution for it, but what was it? That looks gross. Okay, so it's not. What? Yeah, I don't like the way this looks, but I think it's how you have to do it. I think you have to like make an array. Are you serious? Yeah. And then the first element of the array is the new line character. Like that. That's gross looking. But I think it works. Okay, so we do that. That gives us the lines. And then what we actually have to do... How do I want to do it? So the header is going to be lines 0 split by a comma, right? And then we need a for, I guess I equals 1. This feels weird, but we'll figure it out. Well, it's Android, and I don't remember what Android uses. So I'm just using the whatever the system is, so it should be portable across platforms. And then I can use this. It should work on Windows at runtime. And if I switch to a Mac, and I mean, I don't like having to figure out what the platform is to know what the new line character is going to be. I guess in this case, it's whatever the file is, right? Like whatever Google saves it as. I just don't know what it is, but it probably is new line return. Yeah, you're probably right. Although, I mean, I've had good luck with it. We'll see. I mean, if it breaks, we will know very quickly. But yeah, since it's not a file I'm creating, it would just be set in the file. You're correct. Okay, so we're going to loop through these files, and we're going to just start with oops. So that gets us through the lines, and then we need to iterate through the individual lines, like relative to that entry in the header, right? So we always know that the first cell is the tag. So, right? But then we need to do an internal loop. Oops. J is less than cells.length. And then what are we doing? So J is going to be headers J. We want the Jth header. Oops. What's the syntax in C#? This. Basically have 3 things that we care about. So we want to know the Jth header, which is the locale. We want to know the current tag. And we also want to know the cells J. Right? These are the things we actually care about. I don't think I did that correctly, but let's give it a shot. Yeah, I can't afford you anyway. I can't afford that kind of spreadsheet expertise. Just give me like just give me some Excel flashbacks. Okay, so we want, so that seemingly compiled, which is a real shock. So let's do this, and I don't know. I'm not crazy about this. It's pretty silly, but we're looping and looping, and it seems like it worked. Did that work on the first try? It worked on the first try. So, and it doesn't really matter. You're right. It totally doesn't matter how it's stored because we've got to, either way, we have to go through and do nonsense anyway. But I think I like this tuple way because we're never going to look at, we will never look anything up without two pieces of information, right? Like we always care about the locale and the tag. So like there's kind of no point in storing it in a way. I mean, the locale slash tag is just the key. That's like, that's the key to our dictionary. So the tuple, I mean, it's a string, so we could just string concatenate it, you know, or like hyphen separated or something, but it seems like the tuples do the job. By language, I could, but the lines aren't that way. I mean, so I think this is the way it makes sense to do it because this is the way that iterates through line by line. It's like line first iteration without changing the file, doing column-based iteration. I could do, but it'd be like jumping around in lines, and I guess it's a little more intuitive. So, I mean, because it's easier to work in lines because it's a file that I can just split on new line. It makes sense to me to parse it row by row. I could jump around on lines, but this makes a little more sense to me. Yeah, I think the runtime implications of this, the population of it, I think will be pretty fast. I mean, we're doing some annoying string things, but it's a text file. We kind of have to do annoying string things. We could write our own thing that just went through the text and split the lines manually and did that stuff, and maybe doing, you know, have whatever fewer weird internal allocations or whatever, but this is going to run like on frame 0 of the Unity app, so I'm not too worried about it. We have the same problem with the SRT parser. But that overhead, I'm not really worried about. Like, it's so minimal. It's not that much content. Even if it was a ton of content, I'd probably just offline it, where it just like ran when you built, you know, and just like dump to a format or like a pre-build even, so that it would do code generation and then that would get built in or something like that. But it's just such a small amount of data that this runs one time, and I think it will be fast. So I think it would be kind of splitting hairs to try to allocate or try to optimize this, and then this I think is going to be real fast. I mean, again, it's very sporadic. So, yeah, I don't think it's... None of this stuff is stuff that runs every frame or even every 100 frames. It's stuff that runs like very, very, very rarely, only on startup here and on configuration change here. So, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong and it's like shockingly, egregiously slow, but... I think this will do the job. So all we really need to do now is stick these in our... What's the syntax? So this will be... Well, let's just make this make more sense. Oops. It's silly to call it a locale. It's not really a locale. It's just a string name of a language. That's what I should call it. Okay, so when we insert this, we're gonna have a locale and a tag as the key, that tuple, and then this value, and that should be all it needs, I think. I'm just gonna swap this out. I'm gonna call it the tag dictionary because that's ultimately what we're looking up. It's the dictionary that ultimately contains tags, and we will call this language. So that seems pretty simple. So the thing we need to do, though, is the thing I always kind of forget how to do, which is tag and locale. I think I prefer locale because that is the, like, organizationally, that is the higher, like, that is the, you set a locale and that's fixed. And then, so that's kind of the top of the hierarchy to me, is like, I have a locale, which is like high level set in the application. Like that's a high level concept. Let's change that to English for Reddit, actually. And then within that are tags. But you could probably argue it either way, but that's the way that works for my brain. It's just that like if I was gonna have a hierarchy of importance, I would say the language is the highest. You could argue it either way, but I guess because there's one language at a time and many tags at a time, it makes sense for me to have language be singular, I guess. Yeah, it's true. It is absolutely plumbing. Like nothing, no humans won't really call this. It'll just be a simple lookup strict. And all that, because the only thing you know, or like a component somewhere knows, it doesn't even know the locale. The only thing it knows is is this thing. And I think I'm going to invert control so that those components are responsible for like looking themselves up and all of that stuff. So it's not going to be a centralized thing that's controlling all the elements, active elements in the application. I think I might change my mind on that. So what we need is I don't know, I can never remember like I also always forget, do I want yeah, let's do it with delegates and not Unity events. Okay. So let's have a and this will be a on language change. I don't remember what like, that's the delegate. I have a convention for this, but I feel like I change it. Yeah, and then we want like on language or language change. And then on language change. I don't know. Something like that. And then you just say if not null, you call it, right? So like when the language changes, oops. It's different. We could do it with Unity events, but for whatever reason in my brain, this is the way to do it right now. I don't know. I don't have an explanation as to why, but here we are. And I might change this where the individual text elements that are being swapped, maybe they get swapped. But I think this is what I want to do. And when one of those dudes gets this event, yeah, in fact, what you should probably want to do, I mean, you probably want to fire it immediately after you're populated, so then everybody knows. And this could be something that comes from player prefs. So like to do would be like, so you could say, if somebody had previously set a language, you could set it. So I think that's kind of all we want. So then what we would say then is just somewhere we have a say we have a button with a text mesh pro. Interesting. Okay. Weird. Your screen space overlay. What? This is set to screen space overlay. Why would this not be? Oh, it's just hard to see against the horizon. Okay. Got it. Okay, we'll have a big dumb button, and that big button will say whatever. Doesn't even matter, but maybe we'll just for now put the tag on it because we know we want to swap out the tag. Did this default to white or something? Oh, I didn't import. That's my fault. I didn't import the thing. Okay, so we have this. By default, we'll just have the tag on it. That's what we said the tag was, right? Yeah. So then we want a like localization. We'll just call this a localizer for now. And it will take a I don't know. Something like that. And on startup, okay, this is where it gets a little tricky though, actually. I gotta think about this for a second. I think this is fine. We can subscribe to this. So we want to say the localization manager, we need to be in the same namespace. Dot on language change plus equals, you know, whatever. We won't even tell you the language. We'll just tell you the language changed. Let's actually do it. Because that way we can on enable and on disable instead. Disable or disabled? I never remember. On enable, on enabled? I don't know, I can never remember that. On enable, on disable. Okay, that's what I thought. On disable. Then we remove that. And so the idea will be that we will take if text element is not equal to default, then text element dot text. Oh, we need another tag. Oops. equals localization manager dot get, nope, text for tag, and the tag is whatever we say the tag is, and it's all good, right? Right? And we could make it fancy and have some kind of fallback or whatever. Tell it not to do it if it's null, like leave it alone, but I don't think we do fancy yet. So yeah, that's the idea, is it would have a tag. So then this, pretty bare bones, but so then we'll say begin, and we will say add this in here, and let's see how broken this is. Nailed it. I nailed it. Right, because this can't be in a start. Wait, yes it can. This can be in a start. It's okay. That's okay, because it's all static. That's actually fine. We just didn't do this. So that should be actually okay. Okay, that wasn't as heinously wrong as I momentarily thought it was. Oh, okay. Localization tag? How about that? Did you see that? Incredible. And if the localization was, for example, I mean, this might break heinously. Let's see, I guess. Oh, that was wrong. I'm sorry. Not there. Here, right? I need to do this. Great. Or any potential fallbacks. Well, that makes a lot of sense. So I think when we set up, So I think we have to do. It's where it gets kind of tricky, right? So we have to. I'm pretty sure. Wait, there's a fallback there. But maybe that's not adequate. What was that to? I mean, this is a problem of just I don't actually know enough about extended characters like that with TextMesh Pro. So if we wanted to create, generate upon Atlas, like if I wanted to make a, I mean, Liberation Sands just also doesn't have those. So how? Unicode range. that's kind of interesting. Like the characters from file is pretty interesting. Because then you could just give it the localization file and you would know that you would have everything needed, right? Like if you gave it the localization text file. So yeah, here's the issue, is missing all of this. So how do you do that though? Because you need like the actual, like you can have different assets for weight, but how do you have different assets for, okay, so that's like a fallback asset. So the thing that's kind of a bummer, what would be nice is to, gosh, yeah, maybe we need totally, so you can't just switch the locale, right? Like we need to also switch. We also need font files, right? So, yeah. So we need a Noto Google font. It would be nice to pack it all into one atlas, but maybe there's just not actually a way to do that. Yeah, maybe, but I don't know if we really, I probably wouldn't even put that in the CSV. I would probably just make a dictionary, or like even just a Unity. I think about that just a little bit. So Japanese, Noto, so we look up Japanese, we have Noto Sans Japanese. So if we were going to use this typeface, just download the whole family. Cool. So let's just say we're going to have regular, Noto Sans regular. Yeah, I don't think this needs to go in the CSV file, but that'll be the idea, basically, is to either swap the font file, but that's not actually what's specified here, right? Oh, it is, font asset. So we could swap. I've never done that before. Let's see, text mesh pro swap font asset. Like if you need to, oh, here's someone trying to localize. You don't need to assign a new material. Okay, so it really is just font, and you just give it an asset. So the material preset is a little weird, but maybe that doesn't actually matter. Like, I don't even know where this comes from, but I'm just going to ignore that for the moment. So, in fact, what even is that? Huh. Okay, so let's make a TextMesh Pro font asset creator. Now let's do it with this. We want it from that file. That's funny. Characters missing from the Characters missing from font file. So there's 2 characters in that file that are not in. I guess that kind of makes sense, like, because who knows? Maybe there's some whatever. Well, the umlaut U was in there, though. I was going to say, like, oh, maybe it's because there's some character that's not in the Japanese font because it would never be used. But what? We have no special characters here, except we have brackets, and the brackets are there. So what is it saying is not in there? Oh, it's a new line, and then, like, I don't know. That definitely makes things a bit annoying. Yeah. I mean, it's probably fine because I'm probably in reality. We could go in and try to be more careful about it, but it sure is easy to just be able to point at that file. But I think it's probably fine. Okay, so that would mean that we then have a. So some languages can share one font, and that would be fine. So that means that probably this dude needs to know. This is where it gets a little weird because this would be. If I put this stuff in the inspector, it's on the instance of this, which would not be available through static land. So then I would just have to kind of convert the whole thing to a singleton, which is fine, I guess. Right, because we'd need a, for example, clearly didn't think this part through enough. So the type. This is not going to be great, but whatever. Like just a list. What? Language? So then you could, on this dude, just have whatever number of languages that do that wrong. Yeah. So now we could have 2 of these, or whatever number we want. I mean, it does mean we could then kind of have like a finite list of languages in the application. Like we have to know it. So at that point, it probably makes sense to make it a const. We don't know tags. We could. Tags could be an enum. But for now, we could have English, and we could have Japanese. And we could say, you are the English font, and you're the Japanese font. It's a little annoying. The instance stuff is kind of lame. We could hide that, which is a little weird. How do you do it? This kind of thing. He handled this in fun. Yeah, you know. That part's annoying. Like the getting the assets with the right characters is going to be a little annoying because there won't be a single file of truth. There'll be the subtitle files, which I guess there could be two font assets. Like I could definitely most cases. I think we have to do Japanese, simplified Chinese, and Chinese. So that's it, and then a couple of like Latin character languages. So that's at least 4 fonts. And so making sure that we have all the coverage that we need in those, when they come from 2 different sources of truth, is definitely a bit annoying. If we want to get really fancy, I mean, the dumb way is just to have 2 sets of fonts, one for subtitles and one for UI, which is maybe fine. The other way is to like script it, but it just doesn't need to be that complicated. So I'll just try to get a thing that works. Okay, so do we just unstatic everything now? If I'm going to say that you need an instance, like if you have to have an instance of this, there's not much point in like our or you get real fancy and say, I mean, this is, I think this might be gross. I might think this is gross. I'm going to do it and then we'll decide how gross it is. I'm pretty sure I think it's gross though. We'll just assume that it's the... And then we need to do the font. What do they call that? Oh, it's just a list, right? Wait, what did I call that? Oh, because it can't be a dictionary. That sucks. Man, I forgot. I really wish you could serialize dictionaries in Unity. I mean, you can jump through hoops and do it, but it'd be nice if it worked out of the box. So we actually have to iterate through this list and find it, which is pretty dumb. Wait, what did I call this stuff? What are you called? Yeah, language fonts. Just can't spell. Oh yeah, then we have to do like did I do this right? If it is equal to null, and we'll try to find you in the scene, and this is dumb, but only has to happen the first time. And then we can hide the instanceness by making only using it internally. What's your problem? Oh. Something like that. Break. Kind of silly, but I did it. So yeah, so now when we do this, we have to, in addition to doing this, we need to oh. Is that gonna work? The answer is no. The answer is maybe. Yeah, I didn't really feel like that was gonna work in the first try. So what's your problem? Instance.language fonts. Well, how could that be null? Because the instance can't be null, right? We found a thing. Oh, good grief. I just can't. Right. Program hard. The character used for underline is not available. Weird. But do I care? Like it's why would I care that underlining is not available? That looks like a Japanese button to me, personally. Right? So we need like how do you do this? Wait, can't. Oh. What are the languages? These are them. Is that to live in here? Can I put this wherever I want? That means that that just gets annoying because then I have to compare the strings when they come in. I'm just gonna leave it strings for now. Maybe I'll unstring it later, but I'll leave it all stringy because otherwise we have to compare strings to enums when we parse the CSV. So let's just leave it stringy for the moment. And I guess this just could default to the 0th. These are all broken things that could happen, I guess. Like, if instance is null, we're in trouble. That should never happen. If instance not language fonts is null, we'd be in trouble. If instance not language fonts dot length or count equals 0, G in trouble. What's wrong with you? Font outside. Something like this. Just so it'll default to whatever the first one is. If it can't be, you know, if we say Italian and there's no font for Italian, it'll just default to the first font. So for example, speaking of Italian, there's no reason to do this. Like, this is kind of meaningless, I think. Inizio. The character used for underline. Did I accidentally underline this or something? Like, I don't care. Get underline special character. I don't want to. I don't want to get underline special character. I'll ignore that for the moment. Okay, so how could we do an easy thing that's like add to buttons? Oh, we want it in like this one on GUI. What's the right way to do this? That's not very consistent. I'm just going to quickly add some immediate mode button. It's just GUI button. Oops. Or the GUI layout. Oh, okay. Well, remember when I said I would never care about just knowing about the languages without also knowing about the tags? Well, I suddenly want to know about the languages. So I blew it. Also, why did that not seem to work? Oh, I can't do that. I have to go set locale. Reset language. We did it. I kind of wanted to, okay, we want to know that though, right? We want to know a list of them, or do I not actually care? Maybe we never really want to know. We have to design a UI, but we have to know what they are. We're not going to dynamically build that UI. So what languages did I say? English, German, Italian, Japanese. Oops. Oops. Yeah, but this one's gonna go away. This one will go away. And I got rid of the other one. So there's really only, this is the only place these are listed in the application. I mean, they will be built in the GUI. It's not the greatest. It's not the greatest, but it doesn't need to scale very much. I don't want to like over plummet. It's very unlikely that, you know, the client will be like, we now need to add Arabic. So here's a funny thing. English, no errors. German, no errors. Italian. Okay, I thought Italian was doing the underline error. Okay, so it's only Japanese that throws that underline error. Which is kind of weird. How did I generate this asset? Maybe this asset was like Atlas population mode. Oh, you know, that is actually another thing I could do. If this was dynamic. But then doesn't it have to know about the font? Okay, hang on. If we had this and we said this was dynamic, oh, it has the source font file. So if we package the fonts, which we can, okay, so actually if I do this and I change this to dynamic and it can't find a character, will it just look up the underlying character for? Okay, it'll just look it up. So, I kind of maybe have an idea, maybe, sort of, maybe. I don't know if it's a great idea, but it's like we could just ship it with the font files. They're not super huge. Oh well, we'll see. I mean, I definitely need. Yeah, we gotta have the font manager. I mean, I have to have this. I think. I don't think there's a great way around this because I am gonna have to have, because even with the dynamic things, they need to pull from different fonts, and so a font asset is tied to a specific font. So I don't think there's a way that I could like pack everything dynamically and just have it look up from multiple fonts. So I think we're stuck with this, which is okay. That's not that big of a deal. We could just add the languages we need to. The thing that I'm just really not decided, like this is probably 80% of the way there. The thing I'm really not decided on, in fact, let's just see, is it 80% of the way there? So, for example, if we just came here and said cancel, I should make sure it works on more than one button, probably, right? That was not right. That looks great. Yeah, it seems like it works. So yeah, the thing I'm just not decided on is all the characters are known at compile time. Like it's not a mystery. We know everything that's in the UI and we know everything that is in the SRT files. So like, you know, it's not a secret. So the dynamic thing, I'm sure there's a cost to. Like it's got to generate those, you know, that means it's at runtime doing the thing. And we definitely wouldn't want to do that during the experience. So the thing we would probably do is generate this based on cannot do that from here. I guess you have to do the utility. Generate this based on the SRT file, I think. And then, excuse me. And then maybe let fallback happen from. That's kind of lame. Let fallback happen just for the menu, but that's so silly. Like, we're packaging these fonts just because we don't know the just because we don't know the characters from the that are on the buttons. There's so few of them. But you can really only say characters from file and give it one file. That's actually a bigger problem. Yeah. The lazy answer is definitely just let it be dynamic. Because otherwise I don't know how to do it with like some tool. Dynamic font asset allows characters, glyphs, and font features to be added to the font asset and atlas texture in the editor and at runtime. Changes to font in the editor are persistent. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's really just not that big a deal. Font assets used as fallback. So you could really like, So what's the default? Let's say we just made 2 new ones. So we have no font assets. We're going to create some font assets. And we're going to say, yeah, Japanese. Well, it kept the settings, so great. Not really what I was going for, Unity, but okay. But just say it was ASCII. Like, say we made our Japanese atlas. What is this? Is it the underlying character or something? Like, we could say custom range. Like, basically, okay, this would be the very silly way to do it. But let's do this, and we'll save this as Japanese. And we will make another one. In theory, just in theory here. Zero width space. Oh, interesting. That sounds Japanese. That sounds like a thing Japanese characters would want. Maybe that's why they pasted so weird, actually, right? Do you think these actually have zero width spaces between them? And Google Docs just doesn't know how to show that very well? Huh. So we save this, and this is English. So, right? Like we could, wait, where did I put that? Oh no. And then on our localization manager, we could have English and Japanese. I mean, we also know the names of them, so if they were named, we could have one less entry here. Would that be better? Whatever. Yeah, I mean that's that's something I really want to avoid. I want other people on the client end to vet everything, like they are the keepers of the language file, and just there's so much room for, yeah, you cut and paste or whatever. Like there's just so much room for error. So I want it to be their problem. That seemingly didn't work at all. So what did I do wrong with the Japanese font? Oh, it's set to static. Well, that's weird. So it's set to static and it worked. So we make these dynamic and we pretend like it's okay. That seems like it works. So the downside to that is that there is a cost. There's a cost to that, of course. And that cost would be hit anytime you asked, I mean, anytime you tried to add, and I just don't know how heavy it is. It's going to be like in runtime, like at runtime on an Android VR headset that's not very powerful, that's already doing more than it should be. So like, yeesh. Worst case scenario is every time a subtitle comes up, you drop frames, which would not be good. So, but maybe there's a thing to like programmatically like you could just loop through. Like add a dynamic character programmatically. Add glyph. Because then when we parse the SRT and when we parsed the localization file, we could add a character. So here's the font asset. Can I do something to you? Try add characters. Interesting. So that's a thing we could do. We could do that. Like when we parse the localization files, we can add them. Try add characters. And then what does it tell us? Characters that couldn't be added. So I kind of like that. You could Kyle, how's it going? Do we know the dynamic fallback is taxing? I don't know that it's taxing, but I do know what it would require. I mean, it requires like looking at the font file, which I guess would be in memory. So it requires packaging a font file, which is a licensing thing, but I'm pretty sure we could find fonts that allowed for that for free to like distribute the font. But you know, some fonts are not licensed. Some fonts are licensed such that you can distribute pictures of the font, but you can't distribute the actual font file. But we could get around that. Then that means, but if we do this thing with like an empty atlas, it means anytime a subtitle pops up, for every single unknown character, which could potentially be all of them, it has to look up into the font, get the glyph, and then draw the glyph to the atlas and then display it. So like not crazy heavy. It's like a caching system basically. So it's probably okay. It honestly is probably okay on a real person computer. On this particular headset with this particular Android processor that is already doing way too much, like, you know, we don't have a ton of headroom, and I guess that's why I'm a little bit worried. So I know there's work to do there. I don't think it's a crazy amount of work. I just don't want to add unnecessary work every time. And that's just in theory. Like maybe their implementation is really bad and it's really slow. And so, but the real answer is probably we test it first. And if if it doesn't have a meaningful impact, then it's probably fine. However, the other thing is we could load that all to the front and just stick all the characters that we know we need at the front with this thing when we load the file. So when we do this initialization, we know all the characters and we know the language. So I could look up the font asset here and I could add the characters here. And then, so that's not true. It is true. It is true, actually. You could do that you could just do it for all the languages, all the fonts, and just make sure they have every character you need. And anytime when the subtitles thing comes online, it could also submit all of its characters to be added. Yeah, so I think so the SRT, but I parse the SRT startup anyway. Like I load those files and stick them in a data structure. So at that time, if I wanted to, I could add all those characters here. But the real answer is like, I'm not going to make it a problem until it's a problem. So the first version of this, yeah, so here are our options. One option is just we don't care and we just say it's a dynamic font. We find a set of 4 fonts that we can distribute. I think that's the number that it would take. I think for Latin characters, Japanese characters, Chinese simplified Chinese, and traditional Chinese. I think those are the fonts we would need. We could probably find, without having to pay any money, fonts that are decent enough. So that could be okay. And then just set them to dynamic and let it be fully dynamic, and they're just added as needed if it's lightweight enough. If it's not lightweight enough, we would then do the thing that during the like initialization phase would add all the glyphs. If that is too heavy, then we just have to build an editor tool that does it in the editor, which is like last. If it is a static font, you're not distributing the typeface. You're distributing a texture that has glyphs from the typeface on it. It's a pretty, I don't know. It's a weird argument, but that is and I'm not an expert in it, but that is my understanding of how the licensing works. It's a difference between distributing images made from a font and distributing the literal font file. Yeah. So static it literally ends up being a texture. So for example, if I make this This is the atlas right now because these are the characters I have added for begin and cancel. It's a literal texture. So if I don't package the font, I'll probably save 20 meg, which is, not that big of a deal. And everything would be packaged like this. Oh yeah. Well, it's a little bit of both. Static just means it already did the lookups in the editor and stuck everything in this based on, you can give it a list of characters, you can tell it to look at a file. Static just means there's an image asset already made for you. Kyle, why is making a localization system simple important? There's a couple of things I want from it. One is it's a small team on a project with a limited budget with a short timeline. So like everything needs to be kind of simple. Like I'm not going to spend 20 hours writing a thing to swap out the text localization, but it needs to be fast and it needs to be reliable and it needs to support other languages and it needs to support them to a proper fidelity. So it needs to do all of this stuff. I just want to make it easy in a couple of ways. One, I want to make it really easy to get the data from the client, which is hopefully just this. So it starts with saying, what's the easy way to get the data from the client? And then what's the easiest way for me to parse that really quickly at runtime so I don't have to do offline stuff? And then what is the way for me to turn this into images on the screen that is going to require the least amount of time and the best performance? So like the worst case scenario, and I really don't think it's going to be this bad, but the worst case scenario is every time it shows a subtitle, it has to generate this font atlas and there's a performance hit. I don't think it's going to be that bad, but we'll see. The thing that is a bummer is the device that this is going to run on. I don't have one because they're not available to the public yet. And our team only has 2. So one of them's in Colorado and one of them is also in Portland, actually. So I guess if I really needed to, I could get access to it. So it's not easy for me to like iterate and test and put on the headset and try it and whatever. So I'm just trying to anticipate any problems before handing it off to someone else. And they're like, oh, every time a subtitle shows, the frame rate chugs or whatever. I don't think it's going to be a problem. I have to assume that the dynamic stuff is fast and we have 2 options for it. So I would say the high level implementation of this is done. There's some things I really don't like about it at the moment. I think mostly it's not too bad, actually. I think mostly it's like, it's a very little code, which I think is good. So this is our thing. We have 2 classes. This is the one that actually like looks up and sets the thing based on an event. So that is this is fine with me. There's like 2 lines of code that actually do anything. This code is a bunch of data structures. Like a big chunk of this is just like whatever, the fields and variables and places we store stuff. This is data structures. The parsing of the file feels pretty tight. So that seems okay. We have a little more work to do here to get this from Player Press, but that's not that big of a deal. In fact, I guess I could just do that now. Yeah, I know. Right. Okay. You're right. So let's just do it. Let's do it now. I almost never use Player Press, but this seems like a reasonable usage of it, right? If we want to set a string. Do I have to call save manually? Can't remember. I use Player Press so rarely. Oh, we'll do it on application quit. Let's not do that for now. So we'll just say so every time you set a language, we'll just save that. And we could say like if then we'll use the zeroth the zeroth language. Oh, but I didn't store a language list. I should probably store a list of languages. Well, let's just do it. We'll have a list of languages, right? Wait, my other default thing? Did I do that? Oh, you're right. I set it to, you're right. I forgot. Well, this thing, right? It'll fall back to, but that doesn't, if you try to, well, kind of, but there has to be, that goes to the zeroth font, but not technically the zeroth language, but maybe that's effectively the same thing. Maybe you're right. Maybe that is just like, it does mean like languages then blank though, which is maybe. Okay, but I think you're right that I'm overthinking it at this moment. So let's just try this thing. Language has stopped looking like a word now. So what I should be able to do now? No, because this is going to fire the event, and that's going to be not great if there's no language. So actually what I want is the zeroth language font. So that's what I want. Something like that. It'll just whatever that first entry is. Because otherwise, if we fired this, I don't know. It feels like it could get weird. Oops. Yeah, I mean they really are. I mean that's the list we have, right? Like that's our only point of truth we currently had. So I could build a separate language list. Okay, like this is kind of saying, I guess here's how I'm going to justify this. I don't know if I really think this is true. This is the list that the application knows about. But there could be missing languages here that are in the CSV file. But since the CSV file is like an external reference, I'm going to defer to this list. I think. But we should also make it do something sane if, everything is empty and broken. So, but this should mean that it defaults to English, but if I set it to Italian and I stop and I start, it's hopefully Italian. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting though. So here's our atlas. But if I stop this, is it cleared or does it just actually keep it? Huh. Like, is it actually building the atlas for me and it won't do the lookup? So if I like run this in the editor, is it going to continually add? Font list is shorter than the language list, yeah. Because we have four languages that are Latin, can come from the Latin font. I don't know if I want to make that distinction though. Like some other abstraction of Japanese uses the Japanese font, English uses the Latin font. I think it's okay to just say like everything falls back to Latin unless it has, and we'll just call that English. So this is kind of interesting. Well, a few things are interesting actually. It stores the umlaut as separate characters, it seems. Like it's not storing just the umlaut U. Oh wait, we didn't even get an umlaut. Well, now I'm confused. Like, how do these have anything in them? Shouldn't these have nothing? Okay, update Atlas texture. And I'm going to put nothing in here. Or like, I'll just put a period, I guess. Or a capital letter A. Can I not? Why can't I save this? Oh, okay, there we go. So now, so I have an empty atlas, right? But if I run, unable to add the requested character English atlas. Oh, yeah, that's me. That's my fault. Wait, no, that should be good. Static, make that dynamic. Did I mess this up somehow, or is that TextMesh Pro messing up? Okay, so it added that. So this is just the Italian characters, but if I click here on English, we should get more characters added. Yeah. So that has added these to this atlas, but I thought this was only going to be a runtime thing. But if I stop this, so that's, maybe this problem solves itself. This problem might solve itself in terms of the static dynamic thing. But I want it, yeah, what I actually want it to be is like dynamic edit in the editor only or something. Oh, clear dynamic data on build. I see. I don't know. I don't think I want to. Because if we just like ran this, I guess the thing that gets annoying is version control, because you could potentially like be adding, or like you're tweaking things, changing menus, whatever, and then you have a bunch of texture updates, a bunch of yeah, you're like pushing a bunch of Atlas updates. But it's set on build and not on run. So if I like, is that going to clear this out? No. So that must just be like a true build, like you're actually going to build. Well, that's kind of cool, I think. I guess we can say multi, like if it needed to. So maybe dynamic is just gonna save the day for us. And we will need to tie this into the subtitle thing, but that's okay. It can just listen to the same event. And when the event comes in, it can just set the font, but not do the tag lookup. So I think that will be okay. There's still some part of me that maybe, there is a part of me, and I'm actually, now that I say this, I think it's actually true. I think that we probably want different fonts for subtitles versus UI. Probably. I mean, even just from a design standpoint, maybe we don't. Maybe we just say that that's a thing. That the all localized data is from the same font. I think that's probably the case. Okay, so I'm feeling kind of okay about this. I am a little worried about this dynamic thing though, just because it makes it easy for something to get screwed up because somebody doesn't realize what's happening, and then there's a diff on the file. And so they don't push it, or they do push it, or two people run and they like both generate, and you know, like get stuff. Because the other option, oh, maybe this is interesting. You know, oh, okay. What about this though? Would not be hard to add a tool that was just like the update atlases tool, right? Because presumably that try add characters to atlas also works. Like, is this can I do this at edit time? Is this a thing I could do in an editor script? Because that would be kind of cool. Because then it would actually be really easy to just say like, hey, use these sources. And it wouldn't need to be dynamic. Maybe that's really easy. Is it really easy? Yeah. So yeah, basically we would just specify multiple files, and we could be more granular because then we wouldn't be trying to add like Japanese character or we could match it to the font. Like we could know. I'll think about that for a second. Do we know that without loading the CSV? Yes, we do. Because we have the language font mapping, or it just falls back to the original font, so it just sticks it in there. It does mean that we need like an offline way. I mean, maybe it doesn't matter. Like you don't care. It's just text. You just loop through on the text. You don't even parse it, right? Oh, is that a funny way to do this? Okay. Are you ready for my this? This is gonna be great. We have the font files and we have the localization file. So the terrible way to do this. Let's try it. Let's try the terrible way, which I think is funny. So let's just try it. Would look like this. I mean, I could build my own, like a single giant atlas. I could, but it would be easier to let TextMesh Pro do it for me. But I can build giant atlases for each of the fonts. For the 4 fonts, we'll just cram everything in there. I mean, that does get hard with like Unicode gets insane. Like all possible kanji or katakana characters. I'm probably getting that wrong. There's just there's a vast possibility space. But I think we can do this. So I think we want to say, we want a custom editor. So we need a like using Unity editor. And we want a custom editor for type of And this will be our public class localization manager editor, type editor, something like this. And it's just going to be like public override void on inspector GUI. And we don't really need to do that, but we need to do a draw default inspector. Okay, this is where it's going to get silly. So we want to say if, yeah, this is the silly way if you don't even try to parse it. Don't even parse it. So, in fact, the SRT files could be stored with the localization manager instead of the. Okay, so if what header GUI layout button GUI layout not button. That's how you do this. Update atlases. Then we did a can we already loop through these somewhere? Oh yeah, we need to do this. So we need to say that we have a oops. And then we need to loop through the localization manager language fonts. What's wrong with you? Oh, okay. Oh, really? That kind of cramps my style, actually, but okay. Maybe this barely works. So I can't get the language fonts, but I want them. Public. Okay, so we do this, and then we're gonna, for each of these fonts, this is a terrible idea. But let's just do fonts dot font asset dot, what was it called? Clear font asset data, and then font asset dot try add characters. And let's just give it all of the text to the whole file. So localization manager. So we need the same thing here. That's a little annoying, but whatever. Public. So let's just dump the entire file. Oops. It is. I told you it was going to be terrible. I clearly warned you. So I don't know. I don't know why you're surprised. I fully qualified this as terrible. We certainly could do a better version of this, but just as an experiment, let's see what this does. Because I'm not even sure that this will happen, like that this is going to do the thing that I think it's going to do. you know? So update atlases. I pushed it. It seemed really fast. I think it worked. No, it didn't work. Maybe it worked. Did it not complain that a bunch of characters were missing? Oh, it would be fine because I did a triad. Okay, so let's okay, let's try this. Let's do two things. Let's do a I mean, so this is just an editor tool that will never run on a person's device, so I'm not that worried about this being pretty. Like, editor tools are not it's not that important to me. I mean, I don't want them to be slow, but this is not going to be slow on a normal human's computer. I don't need to do that here. Can I do that here? Is that known here? I don't think that's actually known. I think I have to do it in here. I think there might be a way to do that, but anyway. Okay, so this is ridiculous. I mean, like, I'm sending an obscene amount of duplicate data, but let's clear the atlases. So these atlases are totally clear. But if I go here and say update atlases, it's going to just cram as much as it can into them. I mean, I feel like it worked. So here's the real question, though. Does this work if it's static? Because I would want that, which seems maybe I'd have to temporarily set it to dynamic and then undynamic it or something. So clear atlases, did that work? They're clear. Update atlases, yes, it is set to static. So do you think I could temporarily set the atlas population mode? Wait, what is this? What's the type of this? Atlas population mode. This seems not how you do this, right? Right? So I've cleared my atlases. Atlas, clear. Update atlases. Update atlases. I think I like this. I don't have to ship the fonts. There's nothing is done at runtime. Everything is already ready to go. My atlases are all right. It means a human has to do that, but that could be added to like a pre-build thing or something. There's lots of ways we could make sure that runs. It looks very fast. And it would be somebody's job to like bring in that file. Like somebody's going to be deliberately bringing in that atlas or the CSV file, and when they do it, it's their job to push the button. I think I like it. So to be less dumb, we would deliberately parse the localization file, and this gets kind of annoying to do at runtime. I mean, at edit time. We want to parse it, like get that data structure back, and only add the things, you know. Oh, if I run with an empty atlas, I would assume that it breaks. Let's see. That's a good question. Why did that work? Well, if I switch to Japanese, though, it's totally broken. Did I? Okay, clear atlases. The English atlas is fully empty, right? So where did it get those characters? Where did it get those characters? Where did it get them? What is, oh, is it down here? No, there's 0 characters in the glyph table. It's set to static. How is it? Oh, is there a fallback set? No. Is there some like other Text Mesh Pro like global fallback set or something? Because you would think there would be, that it wouldn't work at all. Oh, there's a default font asset. So it's defaulting to this. So that actually means that I don't even have to add, that means I don't have to make an English one. Well, it does if I feel like I need to add special characters, but maybe I don't. Maybe for those other languages, I don't actually need special characters, but that is why. That is why that happened. Get font features at runtime. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's a way. I don't know. Okay, so let's just see, actually. Like if we got rid of that thing, my assumption is that we will now no longer have, yeah. Funny, okay, yeah, we don't get anything. We don't even get boxes. We don't even get squares for broken characters. We're so broken, we don't even get that. But if we go here and we update our atlases, then we should get everything. You have to think about that, if I want the defaults or not. Yeah, I would agree. I would kind of think that it should be broken. If it's not, well, there's kind of an exception to that. Like, if you're just trying to edit and you want to see this text, like if I save this scene and open this scene again, is it going to be broken in the editor? Wait, where'd my... Where's it getting this text? Oh, that is set to the fallback, I bet. I bet that's just already set to... Yeah, it's already set to the fallback. That's true, but there has to be something here, right? Something has to go there. And it should be something that you can see change at runtime. Although now that you say that, maybe that should be the tag. Maybe that should be the tag. Maybe the tag should be the text that's in there. And then I wouldn't have this duplicate thing. Would that be better? Because I want something in there while you're working, I think. I mean, I guess I don't, it could just be a blank button. But you want something to edit, right? You want to be able to like visually see that your design is working. So I think I want something in there. So you could say that the tag is that this is the tag. Oh no, what if we use Tagalog? So we've got real problems. I don't know. Do I like that? I kind of like that. Like if the text is a... I'll have to think about that. The real answer is I need to like walk through this tomorrow with the person who would actually be maintaining it, because this is probably something I will write and then hand off to another person. And so I should walk them through that and make sure it seems same to them, because they will be the ones who have to use it. So, but what was that? Almost 3 hours? I think that was a reasonably successful localization system build in a few hours. Definitely need to work on the editor tooling a little bit, but not a ton. Like the brute force method is dumb, but it's not that terrible. It just means we end up with English characters in our Japanese atlas, which we really don't want. Yeah, the asset store, I think, what is the one called? IP localizer? It was like 25 bucks. Now what it is. Wait a second. There's a Unity localization package? Did I just write this for no reason? Awesome. Maybe I wrote this for no reason. Oh, Unity, you're so good. Is this real? Well, Look. Oh, man. Well, the thing, yeah, I had Googled and I found, maybe because I looked for asset and not package. No, I feel like this is what I had found. This localization package. Well, that's really funny. Does this actually do everything that I want it to do? I mean, the string table sure looks like the thing I want. But how does that work for your fonts? Like, oh, that is really funny. Localized string is that's just literally, it's literally the way that I did it. Yeah, they did it exactly the way. Awesome. Yeah, I blew it. That's really funny. They have key instead of tag. Oh, they support like templated stuff too. You can have plurals. How embarrassing. Does this really do everything I want it to do? How did I not know about this? Well, maybe we'll do a string tomorrow and try to use this. I mean, because the font thing is exactly what I want, right? Like set this. In fact, I like this slightly better than my way. Because then it doesn't have to know anything about TextMesh Pro. It doesn't have to. Well, now wait a minute. Hang on. We still have issues here. Right? We still have font issues. Like, this doesn't... How does this solve me needing a... Yeah, that's what. So, I mean, I could probably. Um, hmm. Okay, here's two things. Here's why. Can you import this? Or do you have to type this in here? Like, does this have to be entered in Unity? Because I much prefer. Well, it's a string table, so maybe who knows what the actual file is? Maybe it is just like a CSV file or something. So swapping audio seems easy. So that's a localized. So you build these asset tables, but how do you update asset? Okay, so you could do an update asset, I guess. So like texture. So to localize this, so an update asset texture to D, but we don't, we need to localize. So there's texture localization, audio localization, string localization. So unless there's like a generic, you know, like asset localize to swap our fonts, we still have problems with this. Yeah, that is true. I mean, yeah, I wonder what their solution is for that. I mean, like Arial, their font is Arial here. Arial is, does Arial have Japanese glyphs in it? I don't even know. Maybe there's some like, but it's not like they have atlases for every possible language, right? Like, so what are they actually doing? Hmm. Hello, goodbye. I have one apple. So fonts don't exactly seem solved here. Seem to be solved. It also hasn't been updated in a long time. I think I like my version better. I think my version's better. I'm gonna stick with my version, I think. Right? I mean, it's pretty funny how similar. Like my table is extremely similar, and my like little event handler. Although I didn't use Unity events, so I don't get the inspector thing. Um, eh, I think I like my version better. Okay, I don't feel as silly now because this doesn't seem to solve all the problems. It doesn't seem to solve the font problem, which is like a big part of the problem. Unless your texture atlas is what you're swapping out. Like if you had textures, you know, if all of our buttons, for example, if our buttons were textures instead of TextMesh Pro, and you had a texture per language, then you could do it this way. But then that would, but even if we did that, which would be a pain, because that means you need an asset per word per language. Yeah, so I don't. This feels slightly useless then, though. How do you? You do have flags. They do have audio. They do have texture swapping, but they show text. So I really don't think you're going to show this Japanese phrase with Arial. Well, that was weird. Is the thread gone? Oh no, this is it. Okay, localization tools. So people are using it. Feedback, localize font. I made an asset table with my font assets per language using TouchMesh Pro, and they made a localized font class. Okay, so that's what I was saying is like, if this, in addition to having these asset tables, wherever that was, the thing that was like localized, whatever. Yeah, like this, if there was a TouchMesh Pro font localizer, but the glyphs in the font, I guess you still want the tool, but my tool could do that separately. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like this doesn't. Oh, interesting. So wow. Huh. So that means I can get a font. This person find a font that has Chinese and Japanese characters in a single. Because that could really simplify something for me. Is that a thing? You get a font that has all of these? Surely not. Like that has to be different fonts, right? And you can only have a single fallback. So how would that work? Yeah, unless their asset could be like, maybe their asset under the hood really is just like, maybe it is a CSV, or maybe it is tab delimited, or I don't know. But I don't know. I kind of like my version. We don't need to swap out audio. We don't need to swap out other stuff. We could. So what do you actually get from them is kind of this little table editor. And we just have Google for that. I guess the nice thing about this is you can drop in actual Unity assets. So you can drop in audio and you can drop in things like that. So, it's pretty weird for them to like not have that solved. No. But that does make me curious. TouchMesh Pro fallback fonts. Is there some trick with those? Yeah, this. Search to the primary. Search if any fallbacks are assigned to the primary. Oh. Oh. Check if TMP settings contains a list of fallbacks. Okay, wait. So maybe there's a way to do this without needing the this. Well, but then we can't do our dynamic. I mean, we'd have to. So if we went full dynamic, let me think for 1 second. I see. So we could make all the fonts and have them all fall back here. And then it would potentially be okay, but then it's a problem of populating them. So we would still have to be able to populate the fonts, but we wouldn't have to care about changing the font ever. So, for example, I think if we if we stuck our English and our Japanese here, then I don't think we have to do this. Let's see if that's actually true. Well, that's kind of cool, right? So like, what if we had nothing here? Okay, I do like that. We still probably want this though to be able to do our glyphs, right? Like, so we can build our atlases. I think we still want to be able to do that, but that means that simplifies things. You know, that means we don't have to care about the it is checking, but I think it's just like a lookup, you know, like it's not like it's even accessing the texture. I bet I think it's probably just looking to see like, hey, is this character available here? Because there's like a list. The font asset just has I assume a dictionary of the characters that is in it. So it would try to get that and then fall back. So not super efficient, but maybe I like it because it does simplify our setup a little bit. So I don't know. I'll have to think about that a little bit. But that's a way though that you could do it with their setup, right? That's a way you could do it. Yeah, it might cache, but I mean, it almost already is a cache, right? Like it's already a dictionary that you can look up and just say, is it there or is it not? Oh, you mean like on subsequent calls? Like maybe it doesn't check the first one? Yeah, maybe so. But this is a way that you could use their thing and just swap out the text and just fall back to other fonts. Let's just look. I can't believe this started in 2018 because I'm almost positive since then I had to look for some localization. Oh, is this one of the packages that got removed from the registry? Oh, and this is before you could add package by name, so I'd have to edit the manifest. Right? What is it actually called? The package is called localization. You're gonna make me edit the 20.3. Preview package. Okay, I think this is in this version of Unity. You have to edit the manifest file to add. So I don't care enough. Yeah, I don't know. I'll decide tomorrow. I feel like my thing mostly does the thing I like my... I think I do. I think I like my Atlas updater. We could use that either way though. So I don't know. I'll have a meeting tomorrow with the person that actually has to use this and see what they want to use. Well, that's weird. That's pretty weird because I really felt like I just searched for that and I don't know how I missed that package. The people, so my hope, my dream, and who knows if this will be true, the company is overseas, like the client company, and so what I really want is for like them to be fully responsible for giving us the proper localization, and like we just say like, okay, you put in this spreadsheet, we're going to share a Google Doc with you, you put the thing in there exactly how you want it, and then we're going to take the CSV. And I know that's not foolproof, but at least it's like the, you know, the burden of accurate translation is then on them, and then we can just download the translation and do it. To that table thing, maybe it just depends on what the asset is. Like maybe under the hood that asset is tab separated or whatever. Like if we use their thing, right? But I don't know. I feel like my thing seems fine. Seems like it mostly does the job. Yeah, I really like. It doesn't feel like there's a major advantage to their solution. I mean, if I needed to swap Unity assets, you know, like sounds and textures and things like that, I might be thinking differently. But since it's only text and it's really only Text Mesh Pro, having a custom solution for that is like... Well, but all of theirs, I think their thing does my thing really. Oh, I'm sorry, like their the dynamic stuff, like the number of apples. Yeah, that thing is pretty cool, but I don't need that for this. It's for this, the translation is truly only static, you know, like UI, static UI, and subtitles. So I think I might like the font fallback thing though. I think I do kind of like that. Just to remove a little bit of code. Like that would let us, we wouldn't have to do anything related to a language font. Like that not that that's a major thing, but it could go away. I don't know. Or maybe we still do want that. If we really wanted to pack these efficiently, like we only looked at the Japanese subtitles and only looked at the Japanese menu items to get stuck in the Japanese atlas, then yeah. But maybe it doesn't really hurt to just brute force. It just means some texture memory waste, right? Like, actually, wait. Now that I say that, why are there English characters in this Japanese font? And does that mean I could just use the Japanese font? Like, do I even need the English font? Does the Japanese... Well, that's... yeah, because I want a little more stylistic control, probably. So it probably does make sense to have that split. So, okay, well, I'm going to think about it some more, but I feel like the general pieces work. Okay, well, Binary, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate your help and commentary. Kyle, thanks for hanging out. Suki, thanks for stopping by, even though I know you're long gone. I'm going to go to bed. So have a lovely night, and I will see you next time. Bye.